So in the last video on ACE scores, we talked about how adverse child experiences can influence healthcare in later life. Today I wanted to focus on what we can do about that, because that's the good news, is that we can reverse some of those changes to improve the chances of greater health in later life. So if we look at how the adverse events of our early years impact the biology, we touched on how nervous system dysregulation might change the internal environment of the biology, and so influence how the genetic coding expresses itself potentially through epigenetics, or look at how the nervous system's impact on the internal biology might simply mean that, for example, the gut microbiome is changed because of imbalance in the autonomic nervous system. If our nervous system autonomically isn't working correctly, then all of the descending information to all of the organs of our body is going to be changed. This might lead to IBS, Crohn's disease, and so on. It might also change the environment in which the genetic system is being influenced, and so in the field of epigenetics, the environment in which the genetics are sitting will shape how the DNA expresses itself by turning chromosomes on or off on the DNA helix. So, meaning that things that we might consider to be genetically related are not inevitable, but potentials which are activated by this dysregulation. And the other factors, of course, are autoimmune disorders, chronic inflammatory disorders, and again we touched last time on how the autonomic nervous system, particularly in fight or flight or freeze, will fire off inflammatory chemicals into the body and activate T lymphocyte production, and so the immune system, in order to heal itself and protect itself. If we were running away from some threat in a very primitive sense, then we might need to repair, and so we will activate immune cells, and we will release inflammatory cytokines into the body, which short-term is great, but long-term causes long-term autoimmune problems and chronic inflammatory problems. If the childhood experience has caused trauma, which is an overwhelm of the nervous system, that will cause dysregulation in the nervous system. That's going to change the entire biology. So if we understand that these events in childhood are affecting us in that way, then through the right approaches, we can reverse that and we can undo it. So in understanding this biological link, what if we could help the nervous system to come back into regulation? What if we could go back into these environments in the body, and the feelings and the felt sense and some of the cognitive processes as well, to be able to shift what your nervous system is doing with that memory, and so take that stuck energy, if you will. If we come out of somatic world and autonomic nervous system, we could look at this in terms of stuck energy in the body. And if we're able to access this charge in the body and allow it to dissipate, then you're not stuck in this cycle. And so then the environment that the organs and the body is sitting in is a different one. And so that's going to change all of the outcomes of all of the things I was just talking about. So we can use somatic therapy of varying kinds. We can use some cognitive processing and reprocessing. We might need to go into an understanding of perhaps altered belief systems that we might have developed. For example, if we experience anger as a child and we're punished for that, or receive some messages that say that we're bad for being angry and that we get hit because we are angry, or we answer back to a parent or caregiver, then as a very small child we may well come to believe that we are bad or in some way at fault for experiencing that feeling in the body, the felt sense that we might call anger. And so then when you come up against the similar sensations in the body, then not only do you not necessarily know how to deal with that, but it also brings you up perhaps against a sense of shame, which is a highly, highly toxic emotion, one of the most challenging negative emotions to have to deal with in my experience. So uncoupling these belief systems from the sensation and a cognitive reprocessing of, you know what, I'm not bad. There's nothing wrong with me because I feel this emotion and this sensation. Yeah? Then we can begin to start to heal body and mind. And it's through doing this kind of work. We can use hands-on techniques, we can use movement therapies which might play into the nervous system, or we might use movement to express emotion. There's lots of ways in which we can tackle shifting early childhood experiences and how they have shaped our nervous system and our cognitive process. So thanks for listening, and see you next time.